During the 14th century BC, ancient Egypt underwent significant religious reforms under the reign of the heretical pharaoh Akhenaten. His great royal wife and queen of Egypt, Nefertiti, played a prominent role during this period of profound cultural change and eventually rose to become co-pharaoh and later sole pharaoh of Egypt. Her elegant and iconic limestone bust has immortalized her as one of the most legendary figures from antiquity. Nefertiti is believed to have been born around 1370 BC, though her exact parentage remains a subject of debate. One theory suggests she may have been the daughter of a high-ranking advisor named I, who later ascended to the throne after Tutankhamun's reign. However, there is no clear evidence identifying I or his wife Te as Nefertiti's parents. Te's documented role as nurse of the Great Queen is an unusual title for the mother of an Egyptian queen, complicating this theory. Another hypothesis posits that Nefertiti was the daughter of Amenhotep III, making her a full sister of her husband Akhenaten. Nefertiti's known titles do not align with those typically given to a pharaoh's daughter, casting doubt on this possibility as well. The exact lineage of Nefertiti remains uncertain, adding to the enigmatic allure surrounding her life and reign alongside Akhenaten during this transformative era in Egyptian history. The newest theory gaining traction among Egyptologists connects Nefertiti to a Mitanni princess named Tadukhipa, who was initially married to Akhenaten's father, Amenhotep III. This theory is supported by the meaning behind Nefertiti's name. The beautiful woman has come, which have been interpreted to imply a foreign origin. Nefertiti married Prince Amenhotep IV when she was 15 years old, several years before he ascended to the throne, and changed his name to Akhenaten. Despite Akhenaten having multiple wives, historical records indicate a particularly close and intimate relationship between him and Nefertiti. They had 6 daughters together: Meritaten, Meketaten, Ankhesenamun, Neferneferuaten-Tasherit, Neferneferure, and Setepenre. Throughout her life, Nefertiti held numerous prestigious titles, including Hereditary Princess, Great of Praises, Lady of Grace, Sweet of Love, Lady of the Two Lands, Great King's Wife, Lady of All Women, and notably, High Priestess of Aten. Akhenaten and Nefertiti were pivotal figures in the religious revolution of their time, compelling Egypt to abandon its traditional pantheon in favor of the exclusive worship of a single deity named Aten. Aten is depicted artistically as a solar disk emitting rays with small hands at their ends, originally an aspect of the sun god Ra. This period marked a significant departure from Egypt's long-standing polytheistic beliefs and underscored Aten's central role in Akhenaten's religious reforms. The famous Stele of Akhenaten depicts the royal family being touched by the rays of Aten. While worship of Aten had been practiced before, previous pharaohs like Amenhotep III and Queen Ti revered Aten alongside other gods, without the fervor displayed by Akhenaten and Nefertiti. Queen Nefertiti wielded unprecedented influence in Egypt, ascending from consort to co-pharaoh alongside Akhenaten. She is depicted more frequently beside her husband in art than any other Egyptian queen in history. These depictions often show her in positions of authority, such as conducting worship of Aten, driving a chariot, and symbolically smiting enemies of the empire. Nefertiti's portrayal in art emphasizes her exaggeratedly feminine body shape, which underscores her role as a symbol of fertility and vitality. This portrayal, along with the frequent depiction of their 6 daughters, suggests that Nefertiti was revered as a living fertility goddess during her time. Her prominence in religious and political spheres marked a significant departure from traditional roles of Egyptian queens, highlighting her unique status in Egyptian history. Nefertiti designed for herself a commanding tall flat-top blue crown, which is theorized to represent a female version of the Khepresh, a war crown popularized by Pharaoh Thutmose III a century earlier. By their 9th year in power, Akhenaten and Nefertiti had elevated Aten not only as the supreme god but as the sole deity worthy of worship. Under their rule, temples dedicated to Amun and other traditional gods were either vandalized or destroyed, and images depicting any deity other than Aten were banned. Akhenaten and Nefertiti went further, asserting themselves as the sole intermediaries between Aten and the people, effectively sidelining priests and religious leaders. This radical shift towards monotheism was perceived as a grave threat by the aristocracy and traditional power structures of Egypt. The sudden abandonment of Egypt's polytheistic traditions and the concentration of religious and political power in the hands of Akhenaten and Nefertiti challenged established norms and deeply rooted religious practices. During their reign, Akhenaten and Nefertiti encountered varying degrees of compliance from the Egyptian priesthood, with many priests of Amun hiding texts and artifacts to safeguard them from destruction. Towards the end of Akhenaten's rule, he took an unprecedented step by declaring himself and Nefertiti as actual gods, demanding that they be worshipped accordingly. After Akhenaten's death, Nefertiti ascended to the position of Egypt's sole pharaoh and changed her name to Neferneferuaten, which means, "Beautiful is the beauty of Aten." There is speculation that she might have also ruled under the name Smenkhare, possibly masquerading as a male pharaoh. As pharaoh, Nefertiti became one of the most powerful women in history. She holds the distinction of being the second female pharaoh of the New Kingdom period, following Hatshepsut, and one of only 7 women to ever rule as pharaoh during ancient Egypt's 3,000-year history. Reluctant to relinquish power to her stepson Tutankhamun, who was only 9 years old at the time of Akhenaten's death, Nefertiti reached out to the king of the Hittites, Suppiluliuma I, for assistance. In a remarkable and desperate plea she wrote, "My husband has died and I have an son. They say about you that you have many sons. You might give me one of your sons to become my husband. I would not wish to take one of my subjects as a husband. I am afraid." This request was extraordinary because Egyptian royal women of the New Kingdom rarely married foreign royalty. Suppiluliuma was impressed by Nefertiti's appeal and sent his son, Prince Amenhotep, in response to potentially marry her and claim the throne of Egypt. However, the exact outcome of this proposal remains uncertain due to historical gaps and conflicting accounts. After the assassination of Prince Amenhotep en route to Egypt, Nefertiti's attempt to marry a foreigner was likely seen as treasonous by the Egyptian elite. Some historians speculate that this controversy might have led to her demise shortly afterward, as she disappeared from historical records. However, the exact circumstances of Nefertiti's end remain a mystery. It's uncertain whether Nefertiti died around this time, or if she surrendered her throne to Tutankhamun, who subsequently married her daughter Ankhesenamun. Upon becoming pharaoh, Tutankhamun's advisors persuaded him to reject Atenism and restore traditional worship of Amun and the old gods. He also abandoned Akhenaten and Nefertiti's city of Amarna, re-establishing Thebes as Egypt's capital. Tutankhamun's successors, particularly Horemheb, sought to erase the memory of Akhenaten's reign. They demolished many of Akhenaten and Nefertiti's monuments and repurposed the rubble for their own building projects. Ironically, despite efforts to suppress their memory, Akhenaten and Nefertiti have become 2 of the most renowned figures in ancient Egyptian history, while many of their detractors have faded into obscurity. In 1912, a German archaeological expedition led by Ludwig Borchardt discovered the famous portrait bust of Nefertiti in an Amarna workshop belonging to a royal sculptor. This iconic artifact has since become one of the most recognizable symbols of ancient Egypt, showcasing Nefertiti's enduring influence and beauty. The bust of Nefertiti made its debut in a Berlin museum during the 1920s and quickly garnered international attention, solidifying Nefertiti as one of the most iconic and beautiful female figures from antiquity. German dictator Adolf Hitler took pride in Germany possessing Nefertiti's bust, describing it as a unique masterpiece and a true treasure. Hermann Ring, one of Hitler's top officials, considered returning the bust to Egypt as a diplomatic gesture, but Hitler vehemently opposed this, stating, "I will never relinquish the head of the Queen." During World War II, the bust was safeguarded in a German salt mine to protect it from Allied bombings. It was discovered by American soldiers near the end of the war. Egypt subsequently requested the return of the bust from the United States, but the request was denied, with the U.S. advising Egypt to negotiate directly with the new German government. Today, the bust of Nefertiti is housed in the Neues Museum in Berlin, where it had been on display before World War II disrupted its presence. The location of Nefertiti's tomb remains one of the most tantalizing mysteries in Egyptian archaeology. Many Egyptologists believe that discovering her tomb would be the most significant find since Howard Carter's famous discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb in 1922. Nefertiti's enduring allure, showcased through her beauty and influence, continues to captivate the world, cementing her legacy as one of the most renowned and legendary figures of ancient history. Consider liking, commenting, subscribing, and clicking the bell icon below for more videos like this. Also, please consider using the links below to visit the Documentary Dramatic Patreon page to help in the creation of new videos. Thank you.